Today, we are going to be talking about how to build success without sacrificing mental health. I have a very special guest who is a dynamic force in mental health and dedicated to helping people, especially women, take charge of their mental health without having to diminish goals. So they don't just survive, they flourish. A huge welcome to LaKisha Mosley, our special guest today on this topic. Welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I know from an artist point of view, this conversation is important and always has been. You know, if you look back through art history of the people that have suffered with mental health and with rejection and putting themselves out there. And I think today, in the world we live in, with the rise of social media, the rise of content, the rise of overwhelm, it's just more prevalent and we see it a lot in our own audience. So yeah, I thank you for coming in. It's a really important topic. Shall we start with a little bit of background about you, LaKisha, and how you've ended up being this dynamic force in mental health?
Sure. Thank you so much for that. I would say honestly, Michelle, just like not feeling like something was wrong with me. Was in the mental health space since 2020. I actually started it right after the death of George Floyd. I created this series called Racism in Black America, and the last topic was mental health. And I didn't realize how many of us were really struggling at that time or didn't even
Mm,
know what it was to some extent and felt
mm,
like the conversation needed to continue. And so I'm like, I'm an event curator. Why not just do that? And so I did
mm,
that. And it was so much fun, like just being able to talk about mental health in a space where it's not talked about. And I
mm,
found a really niche I guess you could say audience, which was entrepreneurs, people who don't normally talk about it. And then a couple of years after starting that in 2022, struggled with my own mental breakdown, where I
mm,
struggled with suicide and just not really feeling myself, thinking,
yeah.
oh, it's physical. Oh, girl, you're getting older. Just go to the doctor and get a pill.
Push it away.
Right. Like we just push these things away like
Mm,
they're not prevalent and they don't happen. And so it was
mm,
then where I felt so alone, but I
mm,
knew what was wrong with me, quote unquote, at that time. And so I vowed then, Michelle, for no other woman to feel that no other person, because there are some men who follow as well, but no one else to feel like they had to go through something like this alone. That it was a lot of us out here who were struggling, even if we weren't diagnosed with anything, we were still struggling with something. And so I wanted to create safe spaces for us
yeah.
to be able to talk about these things.
Oh, that is incredible. I've never hidden the fact that I've struggled too over the years, and I've had many downs, many ups. And in those down times, like you described, I think it is that feeling of loneliness that's massive. And I remember in my darkest days, even though people maybe are around, offer support, it's that loneliness and feeling like you've got nowhere to go. So to create that space where you are openly talking about it, because I think when you feel lonely, it's because there's no one else around talking about it.
Right.
And when you connect with people, you realize you're not alone. And the
Exactly.
other thing, you've hit the nail on the head of brushing it away. How many times have we felt like we're not right in ourselves, but
Mhm.
just go, it'll be okay tomorrow. It'll be fine.
Right.
I don't want to burden anyone. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. I feel like society as a whole doesn't allow us to struggle and to
Mm,
struggle gracefully. I
mm,
want to disrupt that whole thing. We
mm,
sometimes it's a burden to live with a mental health condition. I have high functioning depression. It's a burden sometimes because sometimes I'm struggling and I could be smiling and happy and giddy on
mm,
social media, even out in public doing speaking engagements or just hanging with my girlfriends or my family. But inside, I am struggling so badly. But can I
mm,
share that with someone, Michelle, and they feel like,
mm,
mm, I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
Or should I say something? Should I not say something? Like sometimes we don't know what to do with the things that we're struggling with internally. And I
Mm.
really love the space that you created. And I love others who created spaces to say, it's okay. You don't
Mm.
even have to have an explanation for how you feeling. It's okay. It's safe here. It's safe to
Mm.
be not be okay here.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things as an artist I've found important in our space. And by the way, we are recording this live. If you're watching it live, we'd love you to share anything that crops up for you in this conversation. If you've got questions, fire them away. We want this to be interactive. And as yeah, as an artist, I think even without mental health challenges like we've touched on that both and I, LaKisha and I have experienced, just in the world, and we were talking about this before we came on right now, there is so much noise. There's a vulnerability with being an artist of sharing part of yourself with others that can bring up lots of anxiety.
Right.
The and LaKisha knows this stuff inside out, especially with entrepreneurs, but that feeling of putting yourself out there and no one's listening, and the feeling of rejection and not being seen and heard. So we're going to be talking about these topics today. And one of the things, going back to that safe space, why I created this platform in the first place was for that, and to create a non-judgmental space. So in our community, in our membership, we have this rule of no judgment, and it's kind of opposite sometimes of some other art groups, which is judgment and opinions and
Yeah.
criticism, because that's what art does. And for us, it's the opposite, because we want to create that space where you can be yourself, you can explore ideas, and you can explore
Right.
things that you don't know whether they're working or not. And so just to create this safe space right here now between us all, no judgment. If you want to share a comment, you're very welcome
Yes.
as you tune in. And it's lovely to see everyone tuning in. Hello, everybody. I was going to say a quick shout out to people tuning in live. We've
Yes.
got Lisa, Angela, Heidi, Al, Hannah, Alistair, Chris. Hello, Brenda's tuning in as well. So good to see you all. And so, yeah, if anyone wants to write in the chat one of the biggest challenges that you have, let me know. So Chris has gone straight in with, I have found that even though I'm an articulate and emotionally sensitive man who seeks community, I have incredible difficulty finding people who just listen and sit with me and don't try and fix things. Oh, yeah.
Yes, Chris. Yes. Sometimes I don't want to be the strong friend. I just want you to shut up and listen. Like, I don't want you to fix me. I don't want you to fix me because I don't even know what I need.
Mm,
I talked about this recently, and Chris has hit the nail on the head. Sometimes when we are open, Michelle, and we share, people feel like we're asking for a solution. Sometimes I just want to be able to say, I'm not okay. And you just be quiet
mm,
and
mm,
listen.
mm.
You just you just be
Yeah.
quiet and listen. You don't offer me anything. You don't say anything to me. Or if you ask me, like, how can I help you? Sometimes that's a burden within itself. And I know to some people, they're like, that's ridiculous. But now I have to use my brain to think about how you can help me. And sometimes I don't even know how you can help me. I just need you to
Mm,
listen. Just need you to
mm.
be there.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know, I just want to add to that, and thank you for bringing it up, because as a person, and I'm going to hold my hand up now, I like helping people and I like fixing people. So I am guilty of that. I'm guilty of people sharing things with me, and I, because it's my job, I've spent 10 years trying to find solutions for people.
Right.
And my friend Sharon taught me, okay, Michelle, you don't always need to give advice. And so we now have this thing between us, and it's really helped me. And we'll go around to her house, and she'll say to me, so are you on send, or are you on receive? And
I
and whoever is on
love
send, the other one sits on receive and
yeah.
just listens. And then we swap. And it's great. And that stayed with me. Yeah, are you on send, or are you on receive? And that's now followed me through into other conversations with people. And I say, would you just on send here? As in,
Yeah.
I can sit and just receive if that's what you
Right.
need. And
Right.
that's been so helpful for me as a giver, as someone who just wants to keep giving advice
Yes.
and has to sit on their hands and be quiet when someone's speaking.
Right.
So, yeah, yeah.
I
So I love
love that. Oh my
mm,
gosh. I love that you were even open, number one, to
yeah.
the fact that you do that. Because I feel like sometimes women, we are like that. I talked about that on a podcast. Like we have this innate need to be needed. So
Mm,
we sometimes interject ourselves in these spaces. I think when you are like most artists, as well as some people like me, I am a visionary and I'm a creative. You are the very same.
mm,
Sometimes it's
mm,
hard to turn that off.
mm,
Sometimes
mm.
the visionary is hearing it, but the creative is getting ready for the output. Like we don't know how to stop it. And so sometimes I have to do that myself when I am listening, because I have to be like, okay, LaKisha, like you don't like when people do that to you all the time, so just stop. So if someone comes to me with something, I have to, be like, oh, I understand. And sometimes it's killing me because I have like 15 good ideas. I could just give them to fix that problem, but I have to stop myself and say, And then when they ask, then it's like, or I may give it a minute, Michelle, and I may say, well, hey, Michelle, would you like some help with what that
Mm,
is? Are you looking for some ideas
mm,
for that?
mm,
And then it kind
mm.
of opens the door. Or you could be like what Chris just said, like, I just need you to listen.
Yeah.
No, I just need you to listen.
And I love that, and that is something I'm learning more and more now, having done the send and receive, to just sit with someone and own that. And it can be really terrifying to sit. And I've had a conversation and been in a group, and I've said, "Can I just speak? And I don't want any advice back. I just want to say the words." And people respect it, and they go, "Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah." And
yeah,
just even just having been empowered enough to say that to
yes,
someone is a massive move, isn't it, Lakeisha? It's
yes,
really owning your needs. Yeah.
yeah,
Chris, my heart goes out to Chris. Chris says just asking the question brought tears and a lump to my throat. Yeah.
yeah.
Is it, you know it. Yeah, you're feeling
You
it.
got a
Yeah.
friend here, Chris. You got a
Yeah.
friend here.
Yeah. So I'm going to keep going through the chat. Fire them away at us, and
Yes, I
we'll
love this.
book this out. So Beth says a challenge for me is to keep the passion for selling art alive. After a few years, you tend to just want to stop putting yourself out there. The cocoon calls out more. Yeah. So how to deal with that? So you'll probably be familiar with this in the entrepreneurial space as well, because
Yes,
it's the same kind of thing with anything that we sell. We have those periods of either burnout, or we get bored with
right.
it, or things don't work anymore and you want them to be the same as they were. So what's your advice on this one?
I often tell people that sometimes when we're like right there and we give up, like we could be like at that very moment. I will tell you, Beth, there are times that you have to pause and reflect.
Mhm,
Why am
mhm,
I feeling this way at this very moment? What is causing me? Is it fear? Is it imposter syndrome creeping in? What is it? Because it's not that you're not capable, it's not that you're not talented, it's not any of those things, because you've seen success in the past. The
mm,
thing is, sometimes we hold on to that instead of forging for a new thing to come through. I would say when the cocoon calls, be like, okay, listen, I'm coming for 5 minutes, but I got to get back to work. Or I need to go talk to someone else sometimes to kind of get the creative juices going, or do what Chris just said. I just need to vent. Like you just share that with us here. Maybe you need to say that to someone. And sometimes it can spark other, inspirations, other thoughts of creativity. Think about some of the artists that you all have studied, like Van Gogh and Edward Munich. Like they were so creative, yet they were ridiculed for being incapacitated mentally.
mm,
Think
mm,
about some of their most famous pieces, y'all, that were
mm,
created when they were at their lowest. So
mm,
I would say, Beth, I don't always say push forward. I would say pause and reflect on what has you feeling like that, and then
mm,
find a way to keep going. Don't give
mm.
up. Don't give up. We want to see your masterpieces.
Yeah. It might be something calling, because I've had this in the past too, where you feel like you're on a wheel and you're just going round and round. And then sometimes it's because there's something that you need a new fire, you know? So it
It's
could be
true.
that too. Yeah, yeah.
That's true. That's
Um,
true.
Christina says, yeah, living with narcissistic parents. I have
Oh God.
ADHD, PTSD, you know, so yeah, and I'm a creative as well. So should we talk about this for a minute? I know, Christina, you haven't actually asked a question here, but I think this leads us to a great conversation around being around people and
Mm-hmm.
situations that interfere with our mental health, like, you know, when you can't get away from it. And so,
Mm-hmm.
because talking about the cocoon, you know, I do cocoon myself away a lot from
Mm-hmm.
scrolling, from comments when I'm advertising, you know,
Right.
because I know that there's going to be triggers. I can push, like, I can put myself in a box to avoid those things, but there
Mm-hmm.
are some people who are in situations that can't. Um, what's your advice on that one? That's tricky, isn't it?
It's very tricky because we know our triggers, or we should know our triggers. I
Mm,
think that's step one, is to know what triggers you. So a lot of times, depending on the topic, when I'm talking about mental health, that within itself is a trigger. If I have to share my story, that is a trigger.
mm,
So I prepare myself beforehand, before that. And then there's some aftercare that goes into what that may look like. Because all the time I can't retreat. You know, we talk about, Christina talked about, narcissistic parents. Like, can you really not be around your parents? In some instances, yes, you can choose, like, I don't want a relationship, or I don't want to be around them. But then there
mm,
may be some instances where you do have to show up in these spaces. What do you do to prepare yourself before that? Maybe you unplug for a day. Or maybe you set a doggone time limit. Look, I'm only going to be around them for 20 minutes. And after that, I'm out.
mm,
I don't
mm,
care what they say, I'm out. Or if they say something that triggers me, I'm out before the 20 minutes. And
mm,
then there's aftercare. Aftercare could be, I'm going to call my best friend and she knows that I'm just going to be able to vent for 20 minutes. Like, she's going to give me a time limit on how to vent. Or I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to treat myself to ice cream or something. What is it that gives you great comfort after you have been triggered? Or it could be what Beth says. Maybe I get to go in the cocoon, but I have somebody that's holding me accountable for that cocoon moment to only last a
mm,
certain amount of time, because we
mm,
can't always run from our triggers. We got to know what they are, number one, and we have to figure out what's our pre-care and our aftercare when we have to deal with them.
mm, mm. Yeah, it's finding that, because I've found that around certain people, they can be very triggering for me. They're not people I can kind of get away from, and I've had to learn, and it's taken a lot of
Yes.
perseverance to learn how to protect myself.
Right.
And I've tried all sorts of things, like a bubble around me when I'm around them, um, and I think, well, I don't know what's really helped me recently. I feel like I'm in a better place more recently to be in that space.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it might be just an accumulation of different things. I
Right.
think it's the awareness. Is an
Yes.
awareness of, like you said, it's noticing the feeling, like, now this is making me uncomfortable, or now I can feel like you're targeting me,
Right.
and getting yourself out of the situation before it escalates. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. I think the awareness, and there's so much freedom in that, Michelle.
Mm,
There is
mm,
freedom in knowing you trigger me or you get on my nerves really badly, but you don't have that power anymore to
mm,
do that. So I'm limiting your access to me. See,
mm,
we allow too many things in our space that don't necessarily have to be in our space. As an entrepreneur, I get to choose who I want to work with.
mm,
I'm the boss. They are not the boss of me. If someone hires me for event curation or whatever it may be, I'm working with you, but this is, at the end of the day, it's still my business. You don't get to tell me how to run my
yeah.
business. And if there's anything about you, the vibes, all of that, I'm out.
Mm,
Like, it's in my contract. I'm out. I'm going to find you someone suitable who may can tolerate those type of things, but I'm just not going to do that. And I think we allow people, places, things to have too much access to us, and then it could be taxing on our mental and emotional well-being.
Yes. So I have to add to this. When I first set up my own business, I, like many of us, you feel like you just got to work with anyone and get the sales and work with whoever and take the brunt of people's nastiness and go, okay, because they're the customer and they're always right. And
Right.
and when I learned that you can actually choose who you work with, and artists often don't see this. They don't believe it or see it, and it is so true. You can decide who you want in your world and who your customers become, and that has been so empowering for me. So you're so right, and then protecting that going forwards as well, and
Yes,
you've got boundaries now and you don't cross that, and
exactly.
that's amazing advice. Yeah, yeah. Nicola says the worst thing for me is so this is a good one, the exhaustion, the disassociation, and lack of motivation that comes from depression. So when you're in that phase, and oh, I've been there, and you just do not have the motivation to even get
Right.
out of bed some days.
Right.
Any tips on that when someone's maybe got art, they want to create it, but they just can't get going, and it's just like
Right.
this, yeah, this weight inside this. Yeah, we hear you on this one.
Oh, yes. I can tell you for me, because I'm high functioning, um, the exhaustion is the keep going.
Mm,
Because for, other forms of depression, it slows you down. It causes you to pause and to stop. Like you are paralyzed because you're depressed. High functioning, you keep going. It's almost like the hamster wheel. That's the best way to describe it.
mm,
So I mean, do we ever know how the hamster really gets off the wheel? Like, have we really just sat there and watched? It's almost like that, like the jumping off piece. And then sometimes when you're high functioning and you jump off, you go into crisis, which is a really downer. And you have to have accountability people that help you come out of that. It's almost like going in a bubble. When you think about a bubble, it can easily be popped, right? So it's
mm,
really not protecting you from anything. You literally have to have people to bring you out. And so I'm so glad they shared that, because I think people don't realize how exhausting it is to not be okay. It's
mm,
really exhausting because we got to put up this front. We got to show up for y'all to, pretend like we're okay. And then as soon as you're out of our sight, we get to, you know, take that mask down. It's almost like those commercials that they show here in the US for this drug that's for depression called Resulti. And it's like the person's holding up the mask when they're around people, but then when they're not, they pull it down. That's a lot, y'all.
mm,
That's a
mm,
lot. So I definitely can relate to that.
mm. Yeah, yeah, definitely the exhaustion from it all.
Yep.
And like you say, I think sometimes you've hit the nail as well on the perception of someone being depressed and what that looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and remembering that too, that the exhaustion can come from that masking and like performing sometimes, isn't it? I know I've done that. I've literally been on the floor and then I go into performing mode. Then
Right.
I come off and I'm like, oh. Um, so I'd love to move the conversation a little bit towards goals, because I know that amongst our audience right here listening now, some people want to make more art, some people want to sell it and get it out in the world. They've maybe got exhibitions and they're juggling all the things. And all of a sudden it can feel weighty. And
Right.
I think as well it's keeping there's a thing at the moment of
Yeah.
keeping up with, oh, this is what I should be doing on Instagram. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I should be doing on TikTok. Oh, this is now how I should be talking
Yep.
about myself. Now, this is how I should be doing things.
Yep.
And people are and it feels, especially in the online space, things are moving faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
I've been in the online space for 10 years now. Years ago, things moved slowly. Like
Mm-hmm.
you put something out there in the world, you do it again and you do it again, and it's
Yep.
all working. But now you can do something today and it's not going to work tomorrow.
That part. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Should we talk about that? Because you must be. You must be hearing that from the people you work with too and seeing
Yeah.
it in your circles. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. And I'm a bit of a disruptor. So I probably never go with the trends or the
Mm,
fads. But it took me a long time to get to this space where I just don't care. Like, I'm going to be as authentic as I can be. Am I going to do the research to see what works? Am I going to make sure that I'm tapping into my audience and seeing what they need and the
mm,
things that are important to them? Yes, I'm going to do that. But LaKisha is going to show up in a certain way at all times. She is
mm,
going to show up that way. And so it takes a lot of the pressure off of me. And what I found is that people still rock with me,
mm,
regardless of the fact, because I'm
mm,
not doing the trendy things. And maybe because my audience is a little bit more niche, it's
mm,
women, entrepreneurs, CEOs, who sometimes have broken the glass ceiling.
mm,
So for them, they've already been disrupted in that space. But
mm,
I can't lie and say, I'll look at something and I'll say, oh my gosh, they're doing this. Okay, how do you do this, LaKisha? And then quickly my mind goes to, now, girl, that is not what you're supposed to be doing. That is not in alignment. And a lot of times, even when I start doing it, y'all, I will get pushback in some way. Like, it won't come together. It won't make sense. If I toss it out to a few trusted members in my tribe that say, hey, y'all, what y'all think about this? And they're like, girl, if you don't go back to square one, or if you don't go back to where you're supposed to be, like, they hold me accountable for that. So I understand that we have goals. We want to be out there and do what we see other people doing, but never lose the authenticity of your art, who you are as an artist, what you personify, because that's what made people fall in love with you in the first place. So when we start to pivot and do what everybody else does, we lose people. Like,
mm,
right now, you can lose somebody really quickly. Like you just said, I could do this today and tomorrow is obsolete.
mm,
Totally.
mm. Yeah, it is the key, isn't it? And and it's difficult, I think, in the world that we're living in to have that discernment, to
Yeah.
know when am I following something that is because I feel like I should, and when am I following something because it is truly what I want to do. And I think people get lost in the grey area of all of that.
They do.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that's what Angela's saying. So Angela's saying, I feel like social media has gotten exhausting and trying to keep up with even just one platform has become unsustainable. And so that then, if we talk about that statement there with LaKisha right now, because parts of that may be true, and I agree. And then taking LaKisha's advice just now, it's maybe, do I need to keep up with that platform?
Right.
What can I do so it's less exhausting?
Yeah.
And so it's identifying those bits and going, so what can I do to get out of this?
Right.
Because I don't want to stay there. That's
Right.
rubbish.
And I love Chris's response. He was like, the hamster falls off. That's what we do, y'all. Like, we literally, and Chris, I was being so serious. And I was like, how do we even see it get off? Like, so do you want to fall off? Like, no, you don't. Because sometimes it's hard getting back up,
Mm,
to do
mm,
these things. I'm on social media for like a very quick moment. Like, I've even started using schedulers to just schedule my stuff and then to make sure, that it's working. But it is so hard, Angela. Like, on IG, you could do this. And then tomorrow you need to do this. And then on TikTok, you need, like, I don't have that capacity. I
mm.
no. I just do
Yeah.
not have that capacity. LinkedIn, you got to do it this way. And Facebook, I listen. Mm-mm.
No, I'm the
I
same.
struggle
I
with
don't.
high functioning depression. I can't do it.
Yeah, I just put out what I want out when I want, and that's
Exactly.
it.
You like it or you don't like it. And if you don't, okay, keep scrolling. Like,
Yeah. I sometimes play the game, sometimes very rare
yeah,
though, very rare. Because like you, I'm just not interested.
right.
Um, and it's the capacity. So it's not that I'm not interested, it's the capacity, yeah, and it's
Yeah,
knowing the boundaries, isn't it, of
it
there has
is.
to be a line here. And I think it goes back to really focusing on what is important, and this is something that
Right.
you said earlier. It's like, and this is what we talk about. It's like, why am I doing what I do, and
Right.
who is this for? And let's just keep everything really simple.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where a lot of people so find it challenging because they are trying to do too much.
Right.
And actually, you can do a lot less with more efficiency and more
Right.
impact than you realize. We all can, can't we?
Exactly. Exactly. I love that you said that. I think those are two key things that we need to think about when we're creating art, when we're curating events, when we're doing anything. What are we doing? And are we doing it with intentions? What is the
Mm,
purpose? What is the intentions
mm,
of it? And
mm,
in doing that thing, what is the impact that I am wanting to give? Not get. I ain't trying to get likes and giggles. Like, what impact? How am I transforming, changing, doing something better for someone's life in the things that we do? And I think that's where the struggle. When I'm struggling, it makes me go back to the drawing board and say, okay, God, what are my true intentions for doing this thing? And
mm,
is it creating the impact that you want me to create, or for the audience that you call me to serve? Like, I love that you just said that, because I think we lose sight of that because we over here looking on somebody else's paper to see what they doing and what they got going on. And that could very well be their intention and their impact. It ain't
mm,
ours. Stay,
mm.
keep your eyes on your own paper.
Oh, I love that. And can I just pull out something that you just said that that I loved? Is that and then we need to just say this a couple of times to process these words. It's thinking about what I am doing to make an impact, or what I'm doing to add to someone's life with my art, with my creativity,
Yes.
not what am I getting back. And that is such a shift.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. It takes, and we're not saying, Michelle and I have been in the game 10 plus years. So we didn't start out doing this right, like,
Mhm,
or
mhm,
the correct way. But it
mhm,
takes time to get to that level of
mm,
mindset, and always look at ways where you can make impact. I loved being a part of your summit, being able to share some things of how you can take your art from one place to a next, and how you
mm,
can correlate it to certain, things to make impact for other people, because that is why we go and look at art. That is one of the things when people say, well, what are your rest days? I go to a museum.
mm,
I
mm,
don't go to the spa.
mm,
Anybody who has followed me, who have seen me, they will tell you spa days is not LaKisha's thing. First of all, the water could be too hot. I d- I get pedicures because I feel like I need to get them, but I'm watching to make sure she's not cutting my cuticles. If you massage me, it may be too hard. Like, people say, oh, you're not doing spa days the right way. No, that's not relaxing. I got to do too much homework, or I got to watch you so that you don't hurt.
Like micromanage them.
Like, yes, it's basically micromanagement. So spa days ain't it for your girl, but a nice stroll through a museum,
Yeah.
being able to go to a park, listening to some ratchet rap music. That's my
Yeah.
rest. I get to
Yeah.
unplug and not be LaKisha Mosley, the mental health advocate and event curator, for just a moment. I could just be me. That's
Mm,
how I unplug and figure out what it is to do. So, what is it that you're doing that you
mm,
can help somebody transform and unplug? Your art being somewhere, doing something virtually like what Michelle creates, definitely could be an impact for someone. And you may see it as, oh, it's nothing. I remember my mind is my business. I was like, nobody's coming. And I had like 80 people that registered.
mm,
Now we're looking at hundreds of people that come virtually, or if it's in person, it's a very distinct group of like 50 to 60 women who want to
mm,
be in that space. Like, it just
mm.
really takes the alignment piece,
Yeah.
really help us tap into our intentions and our impact.
Yeah. Yeah. That perseverance to keep tweaking that and to keep going with that as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Which again, I think when you focus on what you've just said helps so much because it
Right.
transfers it away from just taking, and there's nothing wrong with taking,
Right.
but when you think about it being the opposite, that's where the answers usually lie. There was
Mhm.
something else in what you said there as well, um, which is about I really enjoyed hearing how you have your downtime. I really like that. And I just wonder whether we should just talk about that for a moment,
Sure.
because I think that's important too in this conversation, isn't it? Around we can chase goals, we've got family, we've
Right.
got the art, we're thinking, we're on social media. And I talked about this recently on a different podcast episode around how I was avoiding taking time off because I
Mm,
have so much to do. And I realized, and I kept saying to myself, I can't afford to not take time off. I can't
right.
afford to take, and then I switched it to, I cannot afford to not take time off because, yeah,
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
where I'm gonna head if I keep my foot on the pedal.
right.
And that was an interesting thing for me to just go, no, you need to stop. And
Mhm.
there is an anxiety amongst us when we have our own businesses and our own creative
Yep,
careers around that mindset of being self-employed, and if you take time off, there's no money coming in, and there's nothing happening, and I should be just, we need to keep moving this forward.
right,
And so have you got any tips there on that, on because it's important, like what you've just shared there about having the time to just go decompress. That's when things fall into place. That's when you create the space and the ideas come, and
right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, I am a huge proponent on rest. I take naps daily. I listen, I don't know why we fought it when we were kids. We should
Yeah.
not. We should have been happy to take these doggone naps. But I feel like rest is revolutionary. It is not just something we do, but it's really a business strategy, y'all. It is really something that can transform your business from being on one level to a next level. It's like an intentional pause. Again, there's that word intentional that can really save your business and your sanity. I had to learn the hard way that rest was not a reward. It was actually a non-negotiable. And
Mm,
embracing it really was my strategy for peace and clarity in my business. It took my body breaking down, it took my mind breaking down to learn that I had to stop treating it as a reward, but as one of my business partners, one of my business strategies that I use when I am fully rested. There is a certain way that I just show up in the world. It is a way that my art can show up because it looks a certain way. I don't use busy as a proof of worth. I'm worthy without being busy. I am it. I've taken the hustle and the grind mentality off the table, and I have, swapped that with these intentional pauses or these intentional pieces. And so for me, rest is a daily thing. It's 5 to 10 minutes of like micro things that I do. That could be, oh, you know what? I'm going to take a walk around my apartment building if I work from home that day, because I do work a full time job as well as in my
mm,
business. So I may take like, 5 to 10 minutes as, I'm just going to walk around, or I'm just going to listen to like some meditations or some affirmations, within that time frame. I also see rest as a weekly ritual. How am I unplugging at least one day a week? And
mm,
unplugging looks different for everybody. So some people feel like, oh, you got to go totally dark. Now there are times that I do go totally dark. It really, really does. It really is. But there are also times where I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to be on social media today, or I'm just going to watch my favorite show for the
mm,
day. I'm just, I'm going to do that. And then I also see rest as seasonal. After I've created this art show, I am taking a break.
mm,
After I have painted this piece that I've been working on for a few weeks now, and I feel like I've gotten my colors and all of my stuff right, and I'm ready to put it out there, I'm going to take a moment to just pause and rest. That could be a day, that could be an hour, but being intentional about a rest schedule, I really feel like if we started to do that, Michelle, the things we could do, not
mm,
just in our business, but in the world.
mm. Yeah, I agree. I think the more I think about how it's that disrupting, isn't it, that you said about earlier? How can I
Mhm.
disrupt this? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Rest
Um,
allows us to prepare. You
Mm,
know, it helps us be sharper, make better decisions. We really can tap into our creativity, and it really allows us to connect with our communities because every last one of you have a community that you are
mm,
building, and it
mm,
allows you to tap into them.
mm, mm. The other thing I think with taking time off and taking a step back, it's the trust element too. And I think I'm in a place now where as hard as it is, I trust the process of my life isn't gonna fall apart if I
Right.
take this time off. Because we can blow it up, can't we? That what if everything just falls down? What if everything just stops? What if people forget me? And,
Yeah.
you just start to, like, blow it up.
Right.
And it's trusting that, no, if I step back now, everything's gonna be fine. And I think there's a big part of that as well, of this process of taking time out.
Yeah.
Um, Valencia's come in with a comment here, so I'm gonna read this one out. "So I used to draw and paint, but I stopped because I felt like my family and friends didn't really support me. And now I've come back to making art, and I wonder, how do you keep going and stay motivated when you feel like people around you don't support your work?" We should talk about this because I think you can talk about this in every
Mhm.
context going in terms of what we create, and there will always be people that don't like what we do. LaKisha, I'm sure
Right.
you work with people who create stuff. You and I both know this from creating stuff. There are people that hate me, hate what I do.
Yes. Yes, me too. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and they tell me.
Right.
And so this is a big one for us to talk about because it impacts us all.
Right.
And the more you grow and the more successful you become, it will start as your family and friends maybe that don't get you, and then it
Yeah.
becomes other people that you don't know. And it sadly, in this world, we can't get away from that. And look back centuries, like you said, to artists
Mhm.
centuries ago, they were experiencing it too.
Yes.
So how do we deal with this, LaKisha?
I know this is going to be a hard one, Valencia, to hear, but sometimes our friends and our family aren't our audience. They are
Mm,
not our community. They are our personal community. And I am a box person like Michelle. So I put you in the box that you show up as. And sometimes I leave you right there until it is time to take you out. I think I had to learn early on, figure out who were my people, who was my audience, who were my clients, who were the people I am painting for, who are the people I'm drawing for, who are the people I'm curating events for. Now, my family are not CEOs, they are not entrepreneurs, they are none of those things. So what I do will never resonate with them. However, um, I don't leave them out of some of the things that I am doing. I do share what's happening, but I share from a place of I don't care what you say or what you
mm,
think or how you feel. It's just letting you know. Because when your girl pop off, I don't want you to be like, "Oh, that's my cousin. Oh, that's my sister." No, you went down when I was down. Don't even worry about it now. But you have to really just think about who are you creating for? Are you creating for them? Are you
mm,
creating for a distinct group of people? So then you go talk to those people. And not that all those people are going to be yes men, because as Michelle just said, it's some people that may have liked something we did this time, but they hate it the next time we did it, or they don't
mm,
like us anymore because of whatever we decided to do. So we have to just stay true to form of who we are and keep our motivation based off of the people who really who we are really showing up for. I think it comes with defining who your audience is, defining who you truly are creating for. And then how do you tap into them? How do you get your motivation from them? Is it through messages? Are you asking them like, "Hey, this is the piece I just painted. What do you like? What do you like? Who do you trust in that?" Because I think until you get to a place where you're kind of like me and Michelle, where you don't really care to some degree, you will struggle and you will stop and start. And Valencia, you can't do that. We want to see your work. We want to see your masterpieces. And so you
mm,
got to get this level of tough skin that says, yeah, they may not support, and I love them, but I'm still going to do this for the people who I know need this, who I
mm,
know want this. Again, for some of us, for me, art is therapy. To go look at paintings in the museum, that's therapy for me.
Yeah. I think you're so right in that if you don't feel that the people around you support you, even just finding those first 1, 2, 3 people
Yes.
who do get it is all you need. And I remember that at the beginning of me starting this business was just I found like 2 people who went, "Oh yeah, that's a really good idea." And I had so many people, family, friends, peers, people that I looked up to when I shared my ideas that said, "This will never work. It will
Right,
never work. You should shut that down. Don't even start it." Like, I cannot tell you how many people were against the idea,
right.
and but there was something in me, and you've gotta tap into that. If you've got a
Yeah.
calling to make it, then that's it. You stick with that.
Yes.
And it is hard. It is
Yeah.
hard, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I hear those comments and they still hurt.
Yes.
They still hurt.
It won't stop.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Mhm.
my drive to do what I do, because I believe so much now in what I do, and I know that there are people out there, and it's having that belief. There are people out there, and it's holding on to that, even
Yeah.
if there's 1, 2 to begin with, and that becomes your motivation is to find those people, and then
Yeah.
life changes. Because then
Yeah.
you focus on them.
Right.
When the nasty people come, you focus on those 2 people to
Right.
negate their comment.
Exactly. Yes, it does. And it's I guess the little petty in me is like when it comes full circle,
Mhm.
just to look back at, oh, you was hating. And now look at, it's that little petty piece, but that's not really your drive. Your drive is because you are serving someone else when you look at
Mhm.
it that way. And it's like, oh,
Mhm.
that doesn't even matter. I served 2, 3 people over here who told 3, 4 more people, and then here are 5, 6 more people that are coming. Like, that's how you build your community.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, we're gonna be wrapping up shortly. Time is flying. So does anybody else have anything to share in the live chat as we're listening to this amazing conversation? I think, LaKisha, have we got anything to kind of end on here in terms of this moving towards your goals, but keeping your mental health in check? Is there any kind of lasting words that we can share on this topic? Because I think it is hard, isn't it, when people have a vision and but they feel like maybe they're getting in their own way or other people are, and there's this frustration with how
Yeah.
to keep going.
Yeah. Goals are important, but your tribe is even more as important. Who are your trusted friends?
Mm,
I have 7 other women who um hold me to the gun. Like, oh my gosh. They sometimes I'm like, y'all get on my nerves. Give me a break. But they know what it is that I said that I wanted to achieve, and they're going to hold me to it. So I would say, find you a tribe that you trust. It could be 1 or 2 people. You don't have to have 7. It just happens to be these 7 other
mhm,
women.
mhm,
But find you 1 to 2 people who are your tribe, but they can't be yes men or women. They have to be people who are going to hold you to the fire, who are going to make sure that you show up as your best self based off of what you said that you wanted to achieve and do. I would say again, schedule in these rest days. Rest is revolutionary and it is a non negotiable. As a creative, you have to get your rest. You will burn out very,
mhm,
very quickly if you don't. And
mhm,
you have to be intentional with your rest and your mental health as you are with your art and anything else. I would say set
mhm,
aside 1 day a week, or maybe an hour or 2. Start small, start with 5, 10 minutes, then go to 30 minutes, then, make it to where it's a day. And I agree with what you said, Michelle, so much that your business is not going to fall apart if you take away time. If
mhm.
you don't, it could potentially fall apart. It could
Yeah,
potentially blow up in your face,
yeah.
where you can't do anything. I don't know if anyone's ever had chronic fatigue, but I have, and
Mhm,
it was from burnout and exhaustion of to keep going. And so when you have that, you can't do anything. It's almost like being paralyzed in your own body. So now you got to let your body rest
yeah.
and rejuvenate on its own, because you cannot do it. There's not a pill. There's not a thing you can do for that that's going to help you bounce back. But having those things, I feel like, in place, and the boundaries, someone talked about it in the chat about setting boundaries. They not for the other people, y'all. They are for a protection for us. We have to rethink what we feel like boundaries really mean. They are a protection for us. Just like when you put on, sunscreen, it protects you from the sun. If you don't, you could sunburn. When you put up boundaries, you are protecting yourself from all of these outside distractors that can keep you from what the main thing is. And so I say, start there and start small. Don't push yourself too much, but give yourself grace. You're only human. Please give yourself grace.
Yeah, I remember once where I was pedaling and pedaling and pedaling, and then wouldn't take a day off, and then something happened to my daughter. It wasn't kind of too scary, but something happened where I had to step away. And in that moment, I had to step away for like 2 or 3 days, and it was just went back and everything was still there, and it was just
Right.
and I know we know it, but we can
Right.
get so caught up, can't we, in
We
the stuff
can.
that we think that we can't let it go.
We can. We
And
can.
that was a big surprise to me that day where I just thought, yeah, everything just stayed the same, and then I just went back to it.
Right.
And yeah, yeah.
That's brave of you, number one, to say that, because a lot of us won't even say that. I think also, as business owners, as artists, what systems and processes do we have in place? That's what allows us to really step away. Are
Mm,
we delegating? I read this book by Rachel Rogers called "We All Should Be Millionaires," and it's really for women, but it talks about things that you can do. I love that book, not just because she talks about ways of, obtaining wealth, but she talks about the little small things that you have to do. One of them was delegation. And she said that the way that I had to learn to let go and step away was I had to hire someone. I hired them for 5 hours a week at $20 an hour. I had to do the same thing, y'all. I am a control freak. Like, I will freak out. I would freak out if I didn't have control over it. I now
mm,
have an assistant who, works now for more than that, but that's where
mm,
it started, with 5 hours a week, $20 an
mm,
hour, because I don't go below $20 an hour. I feel like,
mm,
that's just not
mm,
what it is. But what can you afford to where
mm.
you can step away? I even started having someone else do my doggone laundry. I don't do laundry. I've dropped them bags outside my apartment door. They come and pick them up. They are
Yeah.
washed, dried, and folded. Now, I still struggle with putting them up, y'all. They
Yeah,
still
I have an issue with that.
they may still sit in the bags. But what are some things that you can delegate that's going to help you in your business feel like, okay, if I could delegate the house cleaning, if I could delegate the laundry, okay, I could take a day and not do nothing. Like,
Mm,
literally not do anything. That's what helps you, because when you have emergencies like what Michelle talked about, that's a non-negotiable. When it's my family, I'm out.
mm,
Baby, you can't catch me. I'm out. I'm not even giving you an explanation at
mm,
all. I'm out. So you want to have that kind of room to be able to do that. To say, I'm stepping away. I'm gonna take 3 days and
mm,
I'll be back.
mm. I think just to end, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And to end, as you were speaking, something else popped into my mind, and that is when we are working towards goals and we are always looking to achieve and move to the next level, I do think sometimes that we can get we sometimes think that that is going to be the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And so we chase it and we get there and it's not, and then we wanna get to the next thing. And then you can spend the rest of your life doing that if you're not careful, is what I'm
That's
trying to
true.
say. And yeah,
That's true.
and so it's a what LaKisha is saying here is so important, because that actually helps you to stop, slow down, and recognize
Right.
what you are doing and recognize where you have come from,
Right.
instead of just focusing on the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, the
Yep.
next thing. And I think that is a big part of mental health and working towards goals, is stopping, pausing, and recognizing that I have done a lot. And
Yes.
I have moved, and even if that is taking time out because I needed to take care of myself,
Right.
wasn't that amazing that I was able to do that? And it's about just, celebrating those shifts, those moments.
Yeah. Celebrating your accomplishments. I think too, Michelle, sometimes we paint it, it's successful, and we move on to the next thing. Sit in that moment. I did that. That's mine. People
Mhm,
said this. I gotta get a girl file.
mm,
Okay. So if someone drops a good comment, those of you who attended the summit and gave me all of these amazing reviews, it's in a file. I screenshot it and I put it in the
mm,
file. And on those days where I'm struggling with my
mm,
purpose, I am struggling with trying to trick my mind because we can't do that. We feel like
mm,
we can, but we can't. When I'm struggling with, should I be here? I go open that file and I see all of these great things that I've done or how I've impacted people in a great way. And sometimes that's all the motivation I need to say, okay, girl, dry your eyes, put your tough skin back on. Let's get to work. Let's
yeah.
just get to work.
And also celebrating the fact that you delegated. So, I
Yes.
could just keep talking, by the way. We're gonna wrap up shortly, but, some people feel embarrassed by the fact that they've delegated something or asked for help, and that needs to be celebrated. I reached out for help today, or I, paid for someone to come and do my laundry so that I could take a break, or that I could maybe spend that hour instead with my children, or spend that hour on making my art. Look at me, aren't I great? Instead
Yes,
of this guilt and the worry and the fear around how it's
mhm,
perceived. So I just wanted to
that's
end on
true.
that one too.
That's so good.
Isn't
I love
LaKisha
that.
great? I could hang out with you all day and just
Yes, this
talk.
is so much fun. Oh my gosh, the vibes, y'all, the vibes. I love it. I love it.
So where can people find you, LaKisha? Tell us more about where people can find you. We'll pop all the links below, of course, so you can go and check out LaKisha's pages, but just tell us where everyone can find you and where are
So
you in
I
the world?
am an Instagram girl. I don't do TikTok a lot. I don't post on TikTok at all. I just go and watch. But I am IG all the way. I am DM friendly. Jump in my DMs. I definitely will respond at LaKisha M. Mosley. I'm on LinkedIn, but it's boring. So I like the fun stuff, which is Instagram. And I'm also on all platforms, LaKisha M. Mosley. My website is LaKishaMosley.com. I just love having fun. I appreciate you, Michelle, so much. I thank God for us just our past connecting and
Mm,
just staying connected. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
I'm just excited for any other opportunity to hang out with you, but also with your
yeah.
community as well.
Thank you so much. I've got a feeling we'll meet in person one day. I just feel it. I feel it in my jellies.
Yes, yes, we gotta make that happen. Yes,
Thank you so, so much for everyone who's tuned in and listened to this session. Thank you, LaKisha, for sharing your wisdom and knowledge and taking time out to talk about this important topic. It's good that we've spoken so openly. So thank you.
yes,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful day.
Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
everyone. Bye.